Look, get serious in your trading. Stop messing around with these small accounts. Realize mathematically what you need to get out of this job and start working towards it. Mathematically know your system. Mathematically know your edge. Until you get to that point, you're never going to make it as a trader. I don't care how much you try and get these accounts, stack these accounts. You don't know the end goal. So work out your end goal and start pushing towards how you're going to get there. Only then will you start to make progress. I'm not here to crush dreams of becoming a full-time funded trader, but I'm here to show the reality. You guys got to stick around for this one. You want to see exactly what it takes to be full-time. Have you ever actually worked out how you can become a full-time funded trader, or are you just living in this prop firm delusion? Prop firms are there to sell you that dream. They do it so well, and that's why so many traders fail, because they rush the process. Because if they really took a step back and said, what do I need to become a full-time funded trader? They would just give up, because it simply is not worth most people's time and money investing into prop firms for the long run. So let's get into this one. To work out how much you need, straight up, you need to actually work out your cost of living. Now, this is going to be different for everyone. This is going to be a pure generalization, but I'm going for someone who wants to live a good life in a decent city, in a first world country, Europe, America. The whole goal and the vision that you must have is to retire your missus, be able to have kids and live a good life, spend a lot of time with them. This is going to go out for a generalization of that kind of lifestyle, living in a city in a first world country. We're going to start off with the necessities. This will be a quick run through because it really gets juicy when you understand what you need in prop firms. Let's start off with apartment house. You're paying a mortgage or you're renting out in a city. You could pay way more than $2,000, but we're going to go in dollars, because prop firms are in dollars, and I could do the translation for the pounds and euros at the end to work out the cost of living. We're talking cars of a higher purchase, like $400 to $500 max, really. You know, you could be pushing the budget into $1,000 easily there. Fuel, let's say you're spending $300, like, it doesn't really matter. You want to go to nice places, you want to, again, eat nice food. But this food bill for a family, $650. I mean, you could easily spend double that, to be honest, if you want to live really good. Basic living, $3,400. We've got gym and phone. They come as necessities, really, but I'm talking about a monthly recurring bill there. Then we've got drinks if you go out for drinks on the weekend, days out with your family. Let's say you're doing that every weekend because you're going to want to do stuff. You go for dinners out. All these things you don't even think about, and then you realise when you're working a full-time job, you just got no money at the end of it, because holidays, you're spending 5 to 10 grand on a holiday or 2 holidays a year. These are all things you've got to bring into it. Looking at another $2,000 there, really. So monthly total, if you're, say, you're going to be living with at least one kid and a missus, if you want to retire your missus, if you don't, then obviously so be it. Then she can still work part-time. It's not really a big of a deal. Euros, nearly 5k. Pounds, £4,000. This is to live a good life with a family in a city, really. But you could easily spend this on a higher budget if you're living on your own. You want to live a little bit nicer. If you guys are just struggling to keep your prop firm capital and you just keep blowing challenges, you keep blowing your funded accounts, link in the description to my playbook of how to never fail a prop firm challenge again, where I take you through exactly how I look to stack challenges and pass challenges consistently, keeping the accounts in the long term, which is the goal for all traders. So check that out. Let's get back into this one. We need to now go into the actual details of what you need to make on your prop accounts. How much funding do you need? What do you need to make on your prop accounts? Because, and this is going to crush loads of traders' dreams here, and I'm not here to do that. I want to be the voice of reason. I want to be the guy that talks about the reality of what it's like, and not just go, yeah, you can have 200k in funding and you can suddenly be a full-time trader. You can look after all your kids. It's not really the way it goes. I'm going to assume as a trader that you want to be making prop firm money, you want to be investing a little bit extra, and you also want to be putting more into challenges. Now, I'm going to start off just by saying, right, on a basic level, if you go with the 2 top prop firms, which I think Fivers and FTMO, you're going to have the least amount of problems with these, and it's a guaranteed way to make a good income, right? So let's say $500,000 capital. If done right, $500,000 capital could take you max 6 months to achieve if you start purchasing all the accounts and just want to get to that 500k. Safest option with the best prop firms, you will pay a little bit more. You will fail a few accounts, but overall, there's no reason in 6 months why you can't get to that $500,000. With an 80% profit split and tax, your money quickly drops. And this is what I've realized by trading. The payouts look nice. You get a $6,000-7,000 payout. In my currency, pounds, once you take tax away, you're looking at in the £1,700, £1,800. It's crazy. But you just keep looking at that figure. You keep seeing other traders getting these big payouts, and you just think suddenly you're going to make loads of money. Let's just say right now, you're looking for that $5,500 to be covered with prop firm capital. So straight up, before we even talk about tax, we just include the profit split, you're going to need $7,000 to be made on your prop firms. That equals 1.39% a month or 17% a year. Now, working out exactly how you want to treat your prop firm capital, if you're going to look for the long term, I'd say don't risk more than 0.5%. And I'm going to generalize it across all the prop firms. You're looking at nearly 3R every single month, which is 36R a year. That's pretty difficult to do. I don't think many traders will ever hit that, to be honest, on a consistent basis. This isn't even including tax. So already now you're going to either realize that you need more prop firm capital than $500,000, because that isn't actually that much, or you're going to go, well, yeah, shit, I need to up my risk on the funded accounts. But that comes with its own risks and challenges. I'm not here to say this is what you should be risking. I like to risk 0.5% because I think it's a moderate amount. You can keep your funded capital long term with that risk. Goes to show there exactly how much you need. Let's just start adding in the tax. Once you start making 6 figures a year, and this is what the goal is, obviously, you're going to start paying higher tax. In the UK and the US, tax is really high. I'm just going to generalize a baseline of 35% tax from zero. So across the year, generalization of a 35% tax will be split across your funding. So when you do get that, you'll take 35% off. That's the easiest way I can probably do this, because it's different in different countries in Europe, and I don't want to work out exactly what that's going to mean for you. Let's say you want $1,000 for challenges a month and you want $2,000 to put into a live account. And this is where the traders get really stuck, because they think prop firm's the end goal, but prop firm doesn't give you any security. Your live account is what's going to give you security. So not only do you want to make a certain amount, let's say 5K within the prop firms just to live, then you need to make another 3,000, after tax, just to then put yourself in a good position where you're not scrambling. And that doesn't even account for a safety net of money when you have losing months, because you're going to have losing months in trading. If you try and force that, you're just going to end up in a massive loss. Let's discuss what that means then. If you do want $1,000 for more challenges, $2,000 for a live account, which even that, $2,000 on a live account, it's going to take you a few years to get 50K, You're obviously going to be risking low on your live account. You're not looking to make crazy returns. So we're talking about 500K of allocation, 7.5K you want to be making after tax. Well, really, you could say you want to make 8,000 plus, but we're going to go 7,500. Pre-tax, 11.6. So after the profit split has been deducted, 14,500 on your actual prop firm accounts. That is 2.9% a month. That's 3R on 1% risk or 6R on a 0.5% risk. To do that every month, you're going to be doing between 35 and 70R a year. You are in this performance level of a top tier trader now. We're talking like traders that are the best in the industry that you don't actually hear of too much. They're probably doing 50% on an amazing year, and they're not doing that consistently every year. So how do you feel like you're going to be better than them? This is what I don't get with traders. Like, they've got this delusion of, I'm going to be better than this trader, I'm going to do 10% in a week. Yeah, but you're not thinking long term. You're not thinking the long game. And you can tell, because once you start doing these calculations, you realize, well, shit, is $500,000 capital enough? I need to make 3 to 6R a month, every month, just to live and put a little bit in investments for the live account, because that's the end goal. So you can see already that leaving your job is a world away. And I realized this early on, and that's why I said, look, I need to build up my funding, because having that 1-2 accounts isn't enough. I'm delusional to think otherwise. At this point, you've realized you probably need more prop firm capital. So let's double that. Let's say you need $1 million, because $1 million is a good amount. I'm not going to lie. Getting to $1 million funding is good. But remember, 10% drawdown, 100K. You hit 100K. Like, that's the amount of drawdown you can actually hit. And it's still 10% of your overall capital, right? You don't want to be losing your capital. So I would, again, say a moderate risk, 0.5%, 0.75. You could do that. But again, we're talking from that 500K, you need to make 35% on a 1% risk. You need to make about 50% on a 0.75 risk, and then a 70% on a 0.5% risk. So the R there you need is significant, and I would say for most people it's out of reach. Most traders out of reach. For me at the minute, I'm not hitting these numbers. I'm not hitting 35% a year still. I'm not at that point, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'm looking to make small percentage gains on a lot of funding. As you've realised now, you need to scale to $1 million funding, because $500,000 really isn't enough. I've realised this, and this is where prop firms, especially with your Forex and CFDs, yeah, you start to go in murky waters and territory, because you're trading with prop firms that aren't the best in the industry. They could go under at any minute, and you're in jeopardy of having this funding extra, 500K, taken away from you at any point. I feel like with FTMO and the 5s, you're safe. Most of these other prop firms, you aren't safe with it. So take this with a pinch of salt as well. But let's say, right, okay, I've realised I need to put more prop firm capital, because the answer is never to try and make more returns, because you don't decide how much returns you make. The market does. Then we look at $1 million prop firm capital, right? Let's say you need that 16,000 a month on the prop firms. That's a lot of funding. Like, can you deal with that psychology as well of earning that money, losing that money in a week? All these different things that come into it. And if you miss a payout, or if you go into drawdown, all these different things you need to account for as well. So let's just say on $1 million prop firm capital, this works out to be around 20% a year. I think we're in realistic territory here. 1.64% a month. This is to live 5K a month, 2,000 for live account, 1K for extras, when we're talking challenges and stuff, because I think you're still looking to reinvest in the business at that point. Let's say you need to make, like, really here, you need to make 3R a month on a 0.5% risk. You need to make 2R a month on a 0.75 risk, and you need to make 1.5 on a 1% risk. So this is now becoming achievable territory. If you are hitting, let's say on a 0.75 risk, if you've got a good enough system and model that you won't go into deep drawdown like 10 plus R, you're probably safe to say that I can hit 2R every month. At that point, you realize that's when I can go full time. So first of all, you need a mil prop firm capital. Secondly, you need to be able to have a system that returns you 15, 20, 25% a year, not a month, a year. And doing that on the big amount of capital, putting money into a live account and looking to compound that way. For many traders here in third world countries, you're not really going to see this. It's not the same for you because I can't relate. I'm not in that experience. Like, I'm coming from a background here where the cost of living is a lot higher. And this is why I am looking to go into a third world country, because it's so much cheaper to live. I can live individually for $1,000 a month here. And for me, that's not a problem. I can live a very good life. I want to appeal to traders because a lot of the industry is targeted towards traders that are like 18 to 24 and they haven't got any ties. They're trying to get out. They're in a part-time job. I'm talking dads with families, yeah, that are looking for a way out and they don't understand why these 18-year-olds are doing it and they can't. You're not in that life situation, man. Like, come on. You've got to get into grasp reality. I'm talking about when you're sitting there going to work every day, 9 to 5, you're coming home and you're going, why can't I do it? Well, because first of all, you've got a family to look after. And secondly, you need about $1 million in prop firm funding with a decent enough strategy. $500,000 is not going to cut it. You're going for these 5 and 10K challenges. Where's that going to get you? Like, how is that going to push the needle forward? It's just not. And I realized this early on that I only need to make 1 to 3% a month, average. I'm not going to try and be the best trader in the world because I'm never going to be that. Like, I'm here for the long run. I'm going to be here in 10 years. So let me get better every year. Incremental increases in my ability over the years is what's going to get me to hitting these 30, 40, 50% years. At the minute, I just want to hit 10% a year. Oh, suddenly I've done it. Then I want to hit 20% a year. Well, suddenly I've done that. Then you can start building, but realize the game you're in. It's serious. Doing a 5 and 10K challenge is not going to get you out your job. You're going to try and prove you got the skill. Well, prove you got the skill and just smash 100K, smash another 100K. I'm here to provide realism and belief for traders because I know that they're getting caught up in this delusion that's not real. Fast cars and all this living is so far away from what we're striving for anyway. We just want a good life. We want to look after our families, and that's the whole point of this. But you just forget. You're doing a 5 and 10K challenge thinking that this is what's going to push the needle forward. You're acting away on a 5 and 10K that you wouldn't on 100 or 200K. You need to act the same throughout the whole way you trade. And you've got to realize that if I want to make 5K a month, I can't be going for 5K challenges. It means nothing. But look, get serious in your trading. Stop messing around with these small accounts. Realize mathematically what you need to get out of this job and start working towards it. Mathematically know your system. Mathematically know your edge. Until you get to that point, you're never going to make it as a trader. I don't care how much you try and get these accounts, stack these accounts. You don't know the end goal. So work out your end goal and start pushing towards how you're going to get there. Only then will you start to make progress. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Take care. Peace.